sure. Should we go on live now? Cool. So we are live. So I will go back. Cool. So we're live. I'll just watch this so I know people are coming. Alrighty. So, all right, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cincinnati Herald's Influencers, a weekly talk show to share young voices. My name is Nailah Edwards, and I am one of the 7 influencers, and I will be your host this evening. If you have been keeping up with the influencers, you've probably heard my voice on the radio, or you've probably watched some of my reruns. But if you have not catched my show before, my show consists of introducing you to the amazing, talented, and hardworking youth of Cincinnati, as well as speaking on influential topics that are important for our younger generation. So as you all know, for the time being, we are now doing our shows on Zoom and Facebook Live instead of the radio station due to the pandemic, but we are absolutely loving this pivot. So get used to it. So today I will be introducing you to the amazingly talented Taylor Darks, and we will be talking all about her journey in her poetry and children's books. But first, before we get into doing all of that, I wanted to remind you to check out the Cincinnati Herald and be sure to purchase the newspaper at your local Kroger, Walgreens, UDF, Joseph Beth, or another newspaper stand around the city. And you can also visit thecincinnatiherald.com and subscribe there to get mail delivery. But like I said, we are on Zoom and Facebook Live on the Cincinnati Herald's page. And Taylor is also here with me, and we're ready to get started. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Taylor Darks. It's an honor to have you on my show today, and it's a privilege to know you. And I haven't really spoke to you since like elementary school, but I've been keeping up with you, and you're like killing it. So welcome, girl. What's up?
Hi, thank you for having me. And thank you. I know we've known each other for a long time.
Yes. So like we both went to Kilgore together. So that's like the last time we really like were connected and everything. So like after you went to Kilgore, you went to Walnut Hills High School in Cincinnati, Ohio, Cincinnati Public School. And there you were like involved in like basketball. You're like a pro at basketball, like superstar. I love it. You're awesome. So you did basketball there, and I'm pretty sure you had like amazing grades. I already know it. And then from there you transitioned on to Florida AMU University?
I went to Furman University in Greenville, South Carolina, and then I transferred to FAMU that following year for my sophomore year.
Okay, what was your major there?
At Furman, I think I was in like business or something. It didn't last long, but I ended up switching to sociology. So that's what I got my bachelor's in. Is sociology, which is like the study of human interactions, to put it short. And so now I'm getting my doctoral degree at Florida State in sociology with a focus on race and inequality. So that's where I'm at now. I'm on year 2, so
nice. So was it, you said Florida AMU University? That's where you got your bachelor's, you said?
FAMU, Florida A&M.
Okay, so there I heard you had like the top GPA and like the athletic department when you're graduating. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And then like you were a Delta and everything. You crossed over to become a Delta. So can you tell us a little bit like your college journey? Like what all happened during that time? Keep us up to date with that.
So like you mentioned, I played 3 varsity sports in high school. I did track, soccer, and basketball for a majority of my career. And then I think I stopped soccer after my sophomore year. So I went on to play college basketball for 4 years. Honestly, I didn't know I needed FAMU. So like I was at Furman and like it was fine, but then I ended up leaving and I ended up like almost like discovering FAMU because like I'm in Ohio, I'm nowhere near the South. So I had no idea even what like FAMU was, but it ended up being like the best decision I could ever make. Concerning my book, since that's, like one of the things we're going to talk about today,
Mhm.
FAMU has this very entrepreneurial vibe to it. It's almost like if you don't have a small business, like what are you doing? Like if you're not selling t-shirts or at least like some lashes, like girl, like step your game up. So I have like pictures of me from like Set Friday when I first published my books. Like Set Fridays, like historically on FAMU's campus is now like kind of like almost like a party small business mixture, but it used to be strictly for small businesses on FAMU's campus for FAMU students. So I have pictures of me like with my first books like on my table outside at Set Friday. So FAMU definitely gave me my start, and it gave me the courage to do a lot of things that I feel like I wouldn't have got anywhere else.
Mhm.
In terms of being a Delta, that was honestly one of the best decisions ever. And it's very interesting because you don't really expect, like for our athletics department, we didn't have a lot of people who were really involved in campus life. It was kind of like sports, school, and then you kind of go home. So entering that dynamic was really new for me to like go into campus life and kind of be a part of FAMU holistically. And there are a lot of people who are even more involved. They're in SGA and they're in sororities and they're doing this and they're doing that. But I had never considered myself to do that. So it was kind of like a leap of faith to really try and balance all those things. And it was a really good decision.
Right. Awesome. So I saw that you're going to Florida State University for your doctor's program. So I saw that it was fully funded. Is that true?
Yeah. So thanks. I'm a FAMU feeder, so I was fully funded through the sociology department, but then I also got a fellowship. So it's kind of like a dual kind of thing. And I'm also a teaching assistant. So yeah, it's like the best possible outcome. But it was a lot of work and it was really hard because I was applying for graduate school in like the middle of basketball season. So, like we were like on the road and I was trying to like turn in application materials and like take the GRE, and it was like a lot. We did it. We got in.
Yes, and yeah, I'm really happy that you did that. I'm proud of you. So you have these collection of books out, which is great. You're an author now, which is great, which is another thing on your resume. So can you tell us about these books that you have out right now?
Yeah, my first book that I believe I published in like 2016, maybe. It's been a while. Is Caged, a poetic collection of the African American experience. And it's a different kind of medium. So it's not like you study African American history in different aspects of it. And it's like almost like articles or documentaries or textbooks. So the book of poetry is a different medium that makes you think about the interconnectedness of it differently. And that's like the purpose of the book is it brings parts of the past, the present, and the future all together. So it starts at one part of history, kind of like swords slavery, and then it kind of comes all the way up to the present day, but they're all still interconnected. So there's some poems that connect throughout the book and have similar themes. And there's some poems that bring both together, especially in the middle of the book, because there's 3 parts. So that was my first book. My second book, Wash Day, which, do I have it with me? I do. Okay. It was Wash Day. I don't have any cage with me, so otherwise I'd show it to you too, but this is Wash Day. I've been natural since maybe like 10th grade. And honestly, I was like the only one in my family who was natural. And now you see like all the natural babies. I'm like, it wasn't like that before, okay? But, so being natural was like a leap of faith in itself too, but like it paid off. I'm still figuring it out. But so Wash Day was my first book kind of about natural hair and self-love. And there's a kind of a stereotype that natural hair is kind of, oh, it's too hard for me, or I could never do that, or I won't look right with natural hair, like, even though it's growing out your head. And those are all valid points, but Wash Day really tries to teach kids that it's a process and it's okay if it doesn't go right the first time. They probably have a lot more guidance from their parents than I do with natural hair, but that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to open that conversation, regardless of if you have people who have natural hair in your family or not. It's supposed to be fun for kids and make Wash Day fun and make natural hair fun, because I feel like there's always kind of like this negative stereotype attached to it.
Right.
And then my third book, which is The Fluffy Adventures of Fromo, and I'm on my 4th book. It comes out September 1st, but this is the first book in the sequel. See if I can get it up there with my little virtual thing.
Yeah.
So it's The Fluffy Adventures of Fromo, and honest to God, it started as a joke. It was kind of like to be funny, like, oh, the fluffy adventures of Fromo, Afro Fromo. And we kind of laughed about it, me and my boyfriend. And then I was like, huh.
Got you.
Yeah. So I ended up putting it together. And it's honestly a book that celebrates like superheroes and kind of like Black girl magic, and being yourself is the most important part of it. Because she's not like any character I've read about. She's special to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it also has a lot of hair puns in it, which the adults seem to find really funny. My older kids, like my 5th and 6th graders, get the puns, but a lot of the younger kids don't. But like, her name's Fromo, her sidekick's name is Coil, her other sidekick's name is Fade. Her parents are Wonder Weave and the Bald Spot. They have like these crazy backstories with their hair and stuff. So little things like that. So it makes it kind of funny and enjoyable. And I do currently do events with my lab, with all my books, but in particular, this book right here.
Okay.
I do a lot of events, and I do have a, what's it called? Reading is Frotastic bundle for teachers and classrooms and librarians to kind of make the book as fun as it can be. Because it's fun on its own, but it's nice to have activities and a curriculum that meets Common Core standards. And you could write the author with the bundle, and I'll write back and stuff like that. So just to make books fun, and also to push diversity in reading, because that's also really important.
For sure. So so I know you had basketball going on, you had your you have your doctorate program about to go on. But like, where did author come into the picture? Like, what inspired you to become an author?
I took a creative writing course at Walnut. And I just kind of like fell into it. I mean, I signed up for it, but I didn't know about it like my whole time being there until 10th grade. And it was taught by Mr. Taylor. Shout out to Mr. Taylor. For some reason, he's watching. And I didn't realize how much I liked writing until I got to that class, because I write all the time now, especially in sociology, academic writing. And it's hard, but creative writing's different. And I tell all my students when I go and talk to them, is like, when you're writing, anything you say goes. Kind of like, if you want there to be a unicorn robot, like that's what it is, and no one can question you about it. And that's what's fun about it, is you get to kind of make up your own world or your own universe, and you can express yourself in your own kind of way. Because I wish I could paint and I wish I could draw, but I can't. So I have to like show those things through imagery within my books of what I see. So that's really important. So that's kind of where I got my start. I started writing poems for Caged as early as 10th grade. And like, I think I ended up keeping 2 of those poems in the book, but I started writing poems for that early.
Wow. It's really great. So I know I think you touched on it briefly about like what inspired you to write these books, but I see like you have like these African American little characters, which are super cute. They have like Fromo. So like, what inspired you going deeper into that for writing these books?
Representation's like everything to me. Because I didn't see it. So like, I feel like some kids now, if they have access to these kind of books, they could say, well, I had a book with a little girl on it that looks like me. Because I follow so many other traditionally and self-published authors whose focus is on diversity in their children's book writing. And their focus is often about making the books look like them and the people that they represent. And that's like what was really important to me. I can't really say that I had a book that looked like that. I think I had like the Obama book, but I was like older when I got that. So I think it was forget how old I was, but I didn't have that growing up. And I think that would have been like Wash Day would have been really helpful for me. I ended up doing, going natural and deciding to take that journey anyway, but having Wash Day, maybe I would have done it earlier, or maybe I would have researched about it a little more. But I didn't do that. And I feel like that helps start that conversation to kind of meet 2 different generations in the middle, because I didn't have that. So now I'm trying to give that to the next generation. So.
Right. So I see that you have your target audiences for your children's book are obviously children. So what about your poetry book? What's your target audiences for that book?
My poetry book, I would say it could be as early as like high school. I wouldn't really do middle schoolers. I would do like high school, 9th grade, and it's really an adult kind of book. Honestly, it just depends how you teach it in high school. You would really need to break it down as to what it means. Because if you're not combining it with history and like what's going on currently and how do those two things connect, it's going to go over a lot of people's heads. So it's listed as adult, but it can honestly be taught to high school students as well.
Mm-hmm. So for your children's books, would it just mostly be like for all children, or what was
you could say for all children, but like
more
on the record, it would probably be like the children's book would be like ages 2 to 8. So the wash day would be like 2 to 8 years old, and Froma would be probably 8 to 12. Okay. But you could read it to any demographic, really. But
cool. So for the themes for the book, so you have like different Froma books, and you're about to release some more. So what are like the different general themes for the books, which you expect to like read from them without giving out the whole,
Oh yeah. The first one, The Fluffy Adventures of Fromo, A Sticky Situation. To put it shortly, without giving too much away, that's hard. So there's like the sticky monster this way, the sticky monster who's made of hair gel. And I'll say that much. So the villain she fights in the bully and villain she fights in the book's name is Winnie. And so she's doing something with hair gel because she thinks everyone needs to have their edges slicked back. So she wants to make sure everyone has their edges slicked back because she doesn't like everyone else's hair. So that's like the first book. The second book is The Halloween Haircut. I won't give too much of that away because that comes out September 1st.
Yeah.
And it's available for pre-order, so I don't want to give too much of that away. And then the one after that, if I can count down correctly, would be The Tryout, which is Fromo starts playing sports, which she honestly isn't good at. So that's different from me playing. I'm kind of like, I'm not going to make her that amazing at sports. Yeah. But after that's Happy Valentine's Day, which is Valentine's Day. Troop 007, which is her becoming a Girl Scout, essentially. Troop Scout. And then the one after that is Attack of the Loch Ness Monster, which she goes to summer camp. So those are, I think, 6. But those are the books that I'm planning so far. I'm either going to have 5 or 6, but I haven't decided yet.
Yeah. So ideally, like, what do you want children to take away from this book? I mean, they might be too young to really like actually think about that, but like, what do you want, especially the older children, to take away from this book?
I think I would probably want, it's almost like I did a blog post on my website about this, about balancing children's books and children's book literature, where what we're going on right now, a lot of librarians and class and teachers are looking for diverse reading. And I really want to kind of remind them that like kids are still kids. So it's important to make sure kids understand what's going on, especially Black kids of everyone. But they also should be allowed to read books that don't have anything to do with that. So it's like a balance. So you want to have the civil rights books and the sit-ins and this was the past and this is what's going on in the present. But you also just want to have a book that's about a girl scientist or a monster under their bed. There's a really cute book about that. I can't think of the name of it. But a monster under their bed, or I think the Sophie Washington series, like stuff like that, where it's just representation. Like teach them that they don't have to be in a movement to matter. Right. I feel like that's like what's the most important thing. Like they should be a part of these movements and they should care about these things, but like they're also allowed to take a break. And so you have to have that balance. So that's what I want them to take away from it. Not necessarily this big meaning, because the meaning with each book changes, but just that they can be whoever they want to be, which is what Fromo and her friends do. And they make a lot happen the way they want it to happen and kind of take control. So that's what I'd say to take away.
Yeah. So what about for your poetry book?
The poetry book is almost like a call to action. If you read the whole book through and then you also read the author's note at the back, it's a call to action to kind of like stop this wheel, this cycle. And a lot of people have compared what's going on right now. It's like the civil rights movement, and people have said it's kind of like a cycle. It keeps happening. Is it going to continue the way it is, or are we going to break off of this path we're on? And that's what the book really means. It's kind of like what people or persons, however many people it takes, are going to really step up and break us off of the cycle that we continue down. Or are we going to stay on the cycle and let history continue to repeat itself? And not only in race, but in gender and sexuality and all these different things. Like, are we going to make a difference and bring equality to everyone? So.
Okay. So I see that you can purchase these books on Amazon. Okay, cool. So, cool. Well, I'm really glad and I'm really happy that you have these books out. I want everybody to purchase them and support you, of course. I'm trying to see if there's like any questions that anybody wanted to ask. Somebody said, is racism discussed around Black children natural wool? Not sure what that means. Somebody said, Blacktastic.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that.
Blacktastic. So do you have any questions on your end? Is anybody asking anything? Did you record? No. Oh, okay.
It's okay though.
Yeah, so I see that your sister is doing a lot too, Sean Kelly. She's awesome. She was at UC for a little bit. I saw her on campus a lot, and she's out here killing the game too. Was that on the face of Penn Station for a little bit?
Yeah, that's actually funny because yeah, she got Penn Station, the Penn Station Athlete of the Month. I think it was March, which is funny because 4 years ago I was 4 or 5 years ago I was the Penn Station Athlete of the Month in March also. So that's why it was kind of funny. I think my picture was up for a while, so they finally took my picture down in most of the Penn stations. Now everyone knew us. So I was like, why am I still in there? I came back like a year ago, like, take this down. So I was still in there.
Whole family.
I appreciate it.
Successful and rising to the top. I love it. So is there anything you wanted to like, any last notes you wanted to leave for like your book? Like as far as like how people can, maybe I saw on your Instagram you did some like book tours, maybe at the libraries or schools. Well, schools aren't open right now, but when COVID or whatever this clears up, how can people like go about booking you to read to?
They actually can visit my website, which I have it. I'm getting better at this. It's right here. So www.tbdarksauthor.com. I do have a bookings page. You just email me. I'm normally in like the Tallahassee, Cincinnati area for most of my bookings, but I do travel. So like I'll be in Atlanta at some point. I'll be in DC at some point. So like I move around. So you just have to like, reach out and see where I'm at. I also do Skype visits. So like I don't have to be there. So I could do this on Zoom and talk to the students. And again, I have like the write the author thing. So we can like communicate in other ways. The book does have a Common Core Standards curriculum. So like there's a lot of stuff the teachers can like do on their own. So it has an activity guide as well that's coming out in August. So the best place to purchase like for me is my website, as I mentioned before, but it also ships through Amazon, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and a couple other places at independent bookstores ship the books. But I'm always available and I can always make it work. And I love doing events. I just ordered my first Fromo stuffed animal. So I'm excited. I'm so excited. Like, is it for me or the kids? I don't know. It's really for me, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, so where can people follow you on social media and all that to keep up?
For my Fromo book, which is all about this book, it's at Fromo Official, and it should be on my background at Fromo Official. And then for Facebook, it's at TB Darks. That's like everything. That's everything I do, all my books and everything going on. And then they can also subscribe to my website for 10% off today. So that'll also be cool if they do that.
Yes. And how much is your books?
Fromo is $12, and they're all free shipping through my website, not necessarily through Amazon. But Fromo's $12, Wash Day is $12, and I think Caged is $10.
Okay, awesome. So that person who asked the question, he came back and said, correction, the question is, in the books around Black children, natural looks, is racism discussed?
Not in my books.
Not yet.
And Toni Morrison had an amazing quote about including, her quote was about, I think an interviewer asked her, like, when are you going to start writing about white people? And so it's important to have those books. And Toni Morrison, of course, snapped back and said, like, how racist it is that you asked me that, but you have to see the interview. But my books don't do that, specifically because Toni Morrison is such an inspiration to me, and she really dealt with racism, but she really stood true in like, this is my universe and this is what I'm making it. And I feel like kids, like I said earlier, deserve books that don't necessarily clash with that. They need books that do, but they also need books that don't, and there has to be that balance. So my books don't, but they're very cultural, I'll say that. Yeah. So you can't have these different cultures without those kind of pressures around you. And the importance of natural hair wouldn't exist. if it wasn't for, well, the importance that we have in terms of like political things wouldn't exist if we didn't have this racism around us kind of telling us that it's unacceptable to wear our hair this way. So it deals in it in that way, but no, there's no like racial confrontation or racist necessarily characters. So no.
Great. Awesome. So I'm pretty sure hopefully that answered his question.
So.
Thank you for asking that question for that person. Awesome. Well, guess we could wrap up this little show now. Interview. It's been great. So I really enjoyed the opportunity of being able to interview today. And thank you again for being here with me. I just knew I had to like get you because I was like, she's doing a lot. And I want to shine some light on her because she deserves it. All the greatness. So I really hope that everyone listening as well learned a lot about your journey in the books that you wrote. So please be sure to connect with Taylor by following her on social media. She has it over there on my end, over there. Promo_official and TV Darks on Instagram, and you can add her on Facebook and add her like page as well, which is TV Darks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You can go to her website as well, which is over there as well. See all that good info. Branding is necessary. So yeah, purchase her books. And then lastly, be sure to tune back in next weekend on Saturday at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Ty Sims will be hosting the 11 a.m. show, and Jordan Ivory will be hosting the 6 p.m. show. So be sure to check out the Influencer Show on the Herald TV YouTube channel. This interview will be on the YouTube channel. And then also like the Cincinnati Herald on Facebook and follow us at Cincy Herald on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, you can visit us at thecincinnatiherald.com. So thank you to everyone that tuned in today, to the influencers at home. Stay healthy and have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and happy Father's Day to all the lovely fathers out there, because Father's Day is tomorrow. But thank you, Taylor, for being here with me today. Hope you enjoyed the interview. It was great catching up with you and learning all about everything that you're doing since elementary school. So thank you, girl.
Thank you.
All righty.